There is now a $25,000 reward being offered for any information that leads to the arrest of Cindy Rodriguez Singh.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most notable American fugitives who are currently on the run and wanted in various countries.
Estrella's husband, Arnaldo Jimenez, is the prime suspect in the killing, and they believe that he may have fled to Mexico.
Number 10, Raymond Abbott. The U.S. Marshals are currently on the lookout for one Raymond Abbott, who is also being sought by the government of Puerto Rico and has remained on the loose since 1998. Abbott was sentenced in Puerto Rico to federal firearms violations and was being held in a maximum security detention facility when he escaped. He has never been found, with the Marshals Service offering a $25,000 reward for any information. According to their description, Abbott is known to exhibit extremely violent behavior and has assaulted law enforcement officers, making him a potential risk to the general public.
I think with some work I can dig that grill out of there, enlarge the hole, and get into the utility corridor, which leads to the top of the cell block, and maybe out on the roof.
Number 9, John Picaro.
I made my bones doing a piece of work for Don Carlo Gambino.
The FBI believes that John Picaro is a member of the Gambino crime family, one of the 5 families of New York once famously run by John Gotti. Picaro was part of an extensive financial operation and telemarketing scheme in which he obtained substantial sums of money to invest in foreign currency options.
Well, you know from what you told me, Webistics would be perfect for your portfolio.
I understand you're on a fixed income, but with Webistics, you could triple your money in a year.
Of course, Picaro and his associates simply stole the money for themselves, obtaining up to $5 million. The gangster was charged in 2003 with wire fraud, mail fraud, and money laundering, but he has never been caught. Picaro is currently the target of a federal warrant and is considered both armed and dangerous.
When you're bleeding a guy, you don't squeeze him dry right away. Contrarily, you let him do his bidding, suavely, so you can bleed him next week and the week after. At a minimum.
Number 8, Richard Schuler.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Richard Hart here. Congratulations on your 10,000x. 1,000,000% increase in price.
In December of 2024, Hex and Pulse Chain founder Richard Schuler became the target of an Interpol Red Notice after being charged with fraud and assault. The crypto influencer is currently wanted in Finland, having evaded taxes between June 2020 and April 2024, to the tune of hundreds of millions of euros.
Dips are an opportunity for buyers to get better prices, and they're an opportunity for people to buy tops and sell bottoms and give their money to the people that bought bottoms and sold tops. It's in the game. It's a feature, not a bug.
He is also wanted for physically assaulting a teenager. Despite the Interpol Red Notice, Schuler remains active on social media, even posting a Christmas video to his YouTube account. And in January 2025, Finnish police raided his residence in Espoo, seizing over $2.5 million in luxury watches.
I just want to mention, I'm excited. I think that the judge historically, issues rulings on motions to dismiss in 60 days on average. I mean, I'm not an expert, but that feels around right. And I think that we've got a great shot for a great ruling.
Number 7, Jeffrey Snyder.
We will never give up. We will never concede. We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
The United States Capitol attack on January 6, 2021 caused 9 deaths, hundreds of injuries, and over 1,500 arrests. However, many people got away with it, including Jeffrey Dale Snyder of California. Snyder was directly involved in the Capitol attack and is currently wanted by the FBI, facing a number of serious charges.
I call on President Trump to go on national television now to fulfill his oath and defend the Constitution and demand an end to this siege.
That includes theft of government property, civil disorder, and assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers using a dangerous weapon. A federal warrant is currently out for his arrest, and he is known to have ties to both the Raymond, New Hampshire, and Oakland areas.
A week later, on January 13th, 10 Republicans joined House Democrats to impeach President Trump for inciting an insurrection.
Number 6, Wayne Littlefield. Back in December of 2011, Wayne Littlefield of Kissimmee, Florida was arrested in Cebu City of the Philippines with 2 underage girls in his hotel room. He was convicted of both child abuse and human trafficking, and in April of 2017, he was sentenced to 12 to 16 years in prison. However, Littlefield escaped from the authorities while his case was being tried and is currently on the run. He's currently the target of an Interpol Red Notice, being internationally wanted for use of trafficked persons and child exploitation.
You think I know what we're rolling up on?
Hang on, son of mine. The storm was blowing up your horizon.
Human trafficking.
Number 5, Cindy Singh.
Noel Alvarez Rodriguez, a severely disabled 6-year-old boy, was largely invisible until he went missing. And now there is an international effort to give him justice.
Hailing from Texas, Cindy Singh is currently wanted by the FBI for allegedly murdering her own son, Noel Alvarez. Alvarez was last seen alive in October of 2022 when he was reported as looking malnourished and unhealthy. 5 months later, relatives of Singh called the police and asked them to perform a welfare check on young Alvarez. The boy was nowhere to be found, and Singh told the police that he was visiting his biological father in Mexico.
We're coming up on 2 years since the last time Noel was seen. October would make it 2 years since he was last seen. So this is very important to our community.
Just 2 days later, she boarded a flight to India and has not been seen since. Investigators later proved that Alvarez was not with his father in Mexico, and they currently believe that he is dead. Singh is being sought in America, India, and Mexico.
We continue to work throughout the world on sightings of Miss Singh and are just wanting any tips that we can to further expedite the investigation.
Number 4, Arnaldo Jimenez.
It's the beginning of happily ever after. And in those vows, you typically say, till death do us part. Little did this bride know, till death do us part meant only about 12 hours.
Since May 8, 2019, Arnaldo Jimenez of Texas has been on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. The story dates back to May 11, 2012, when Jimenez and Estrella Carrera were married at Chicago City Hall. They then went to a nightclub and partied into the morning. On the drive home, the newly married couple got into a heated argument and Jimenez stabbed Carrera multiple times, eventually dragging her body into her apartment and placing it in the bathtub.
She was found in her wedding dress in the bathtub, and her husband, he took off in his $115,000 Maserati.
She was later found by police after failing to pick up her children from relatives. The FBI tracked Jimenez all the way to Mexico, but the trail has gone cold. They currently believe that he is within the Durango region.
It only takes one tip. It only takes one person to pick up the phone, do the right thing, and say they have seen this man. Kudos to the FBI for getting involved in this case as well.
Number 3, Robert William Fisher.
Big fire. Can you see it? Big fire. You bet I can see it. Some house just exploded and ignited on fire.
This man seemed to be living the American dream. He served in the Navy, worked as a firefighter in Scottsdale, Arizona, and had 2 children with his wife, Mary Cooper. However, Fisher was described as being a very difficult man, often exhibiting problematic behavior. And on April 10, 2001, Fisher committed the unthinkable. He murdered all 3 members of his family and then blew up their house before fleeing in his wife's car.
It was a tremendous explosion. It just shook the whole house.
A young family dead inside.
I don't know what has happened, but I just asked for your prayers.
This car was later found abandoned in a forest about 130 miles north of Scottsdale. Despite an extensive investigation by the FBI, they have been unable to locate Fisher. Police believe that he either took his own life shortly after the crime or fled south to Central America.
Is this somebody that we're going to find hiding in the woods in a cabin? Is this somebody that we're going to find in coastal Mexico or Central America, for example? Is he a bushman up in Alaska?
The theories are endless.
Number 2, Glen Stewart Godwin.
Godwin has been on the FBI's most wanted list, 10 most wanted list, for 14 years. Take a look at some of the sketches, and this is the last good photo of Godwin.
Back in 1980, Glen Stewart Godwin decided to rob a drug dealer with his roommate Frank Soto. The 2 kidnapped Kim LaValle, murdered him, and drove his body into the desert, where they blew up the truck in an attempt to disguise the crime. However, it didn't work, and both Godwin and Soto were sentenced to life in prison. Godwin served 4 years before escaping from Folsom State using a smuggled hacksaw.
When Folsom Prison was a maximum security prison, he is one of only a few people to escape. He is the only one still at large.
Much like Andy Dufresne, Godwin crawled through a storm drain before escaping on a raft that had been provided to him by an accomplice. He fled to Mexico and was later charged with drug trafficking, but he escaped from prison yet again and has never been found.
Godwin fled to Mexico. The FBI is still looking for Godwin, who's believed to be living in South or Central America distributing drugs.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Edward Snowden.
But you'll have a drone that's just following somebody's house for hours and hours, and you won't know who it is because you don't have the context for that. but it's just a page where it's lists and lists of drone feeds in all these different countries under all these different code names, and you can just click on which one you want to see.
Perhaps the whistleblower of all whistleblowers, Edward Snowden famously leaked classified information in 2013, unveiling an extensive global surveillance system to the public. These leaks not only kickstarted an enormous and ongoing discussion about mass surveillance and individual privacy, but they made Snowden a wanted man in America.
From there on, they would nail him and start watching everything he did. And if he started passing data, I'm sure they'd take him off the street. I mean, the way you have to do it is like Deep Throat did, right? In the Nixon years. Meet in the basement of a parking garage.
He was charged with theft of government property and violating the Espionage Act of 1917, but he fled to Russia before authorities could detain him. Snowden has been living there ever since, with Vladimir Putin even granting him full citizenship in September 2022. It's unlikely that he will return to face his charges anytime soon.
Mr. Snowden should return to the United States, where he should face justice as any other American citizen would.
Do you know of any other fugitives we should keep an eye out for? Let us know in the comments below.
It's the kind of story that sends a shiver down your spine.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.